Welcome back to another episode of the Family Album. I'm your host, Eddie Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Last week, you heard Matt and I talk about our favorite and least favorite concert experiences for family meeting.
Mostly with the least favorites, AJ kind of stole the show with the Fire Fest, which sounded like an abhorrent experience.
Yeah, that was rough, dude. And Guns N' Roses. Let's not forget dishonorable mention, Guns N' Roses.
Oh, good Lord.
But we're back to the regular format, and we're back on a special week, which is the cycle after the Bad Album Bowl.
Yes, I hope you guys have enjoyed this bracket-style tournament with our iconic winners that we all know and hate.
Like this one.
Angelic to the Core by Corey Feldman and The Transformed Man by William Shatner.
I hate that album so much.
So yucky. Ew. Get that out of here.
If you look at the cover, it's just disgusting.
Right.
The sound, if you look at the sound, it's just disgusting.
I hate seeing sound.
Yeah, no, for real. If you can, that's called synesthesia. And
that's why I hate editing.
yeah, if you edit Tom Hanks albums with synesthesia, you can taste it, you can feel it.
It's the worst.
Every sense, you just feel Tom.
It's attacked.
Oh, God. I just gave myself nightmares in real life. But here's something that's the opposite of nightmares. These two albums.
Yeah, they're good as opposed to the ones that we're talking about next week, which are bad.
Yeah, I figured having two albums that like we both really enjoy the majority of before we diverge and go into this hellhole that is the two Bad Album Bowl winners. It would be good. So we could just get a nice like calm before the storm, a little chaser, if you will.
One last day out before we're put under.
But speaking of the two albums for today, AJ, what was the album you brought me?
So the album that I brought Matt is Troupeau Bleu by Cortex.
And I brought AJ Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco.
Yeah, two acclaimed albums in their own rights with some very dedicated fan bases, which is pretty cool.
And some interesting histories and I guess effects from both.
Yeah, and influences.
Influence is the word I meant to say.
But Matt, what album would you like to start with this week?
Shall we do it album tonight style and flip a coin?
Flip a coin?
Yeah, the even or odd side of the coin. I did laugh a few times at that.
Wait, we don't flip coins, roll die. That was a good bit. Check out last week's episode. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the concert experience is one. That was a good family meeting.
But I'm actually down to start with Cortex if you are.
Fuck yeah.
Because I feel like I have a lot more to say about Wilco.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I do have I do have a fair amount to say about Cortex.
All right. So for a little bit of history, Troupeau Bleu by Cortex was released sometime in 1975. No real definitive release date.
Interesting.
On Disc Esperance Records, and is the debut studio album by French jazz funk band Cortex. Troupeau Bleu is considered a cult classic album by many for not only its incredibly engaging, groovy instrumentals and vocals, but for its impact on the hip-hop genre being a frequent source of sampling. Artists like Tyler the Creator, Lupe Fiasco, Rick Ross, Wu-Tang Clan, Flying Lotus, Lil Yachty, and of course, MF Doom have all utilized samples from this album and this group. Cortex formed in 1974, and at the time of this album's release, consisted of Alain Mion on piano and as arranger/composer, Alain Gandolfi on drums, Alain Labib on alto sax.
I'm noticing a pattern here.
Jean Grevitt on bass, and Morel Dalbray on vocals.
My favorite character from Seinfeld is Elaine. Yeah, that's a lot of Elaines.
I saw that too, and I thought that was really funny.
That's amazing. There's kind of a similar thing happening on the Wilco album.
Oh, really?
There's some personnel with like, I'll get to that. But anywho, yeah, no, this was a very fascinating listen, I have to say.
Yeah, man.
A lot of the tracks on here, it's very interesting how timeless they feel.
Yeah.
Maybe because like neo soul and like funk and like kind of fusion, all that shit, that like is pretty popular right now, I would argue. You got like your modern artists like Yusef Days. He's like a drummer who also makes content. He makes really good albums. Black Classical Music, great album. Listen to it, everybody.
Fuck yeah.
But then like it's this kind of like groove style that they're doing all throughout the album. It was very interesting to like throw some of these in a playlist and have it just seamlessly blend.
I know.
With
Yeah.
what like I knew was like kind of a more modern-ish sound.
I think timeless is definitely a good word for it. Like it just feels so like tightly constructed, and for a debut album, it's really fucking good, man.
Yeah, I would have thought this was like maybe down the line, but they're fucking honed in on this record.
Yeah, and Cortex is a band with like a very small discography, so I think I'm definitely gonna try to go through that journey because it seems like they got a lot of good stuff.
I've only heard one other song besides two ones in this album that I obviously heard before. It's called like F Swing or something. I can't really speak French. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so if I butchered those names, I apologize as well.
But we have a lot of French names to go through.
Oh fuck, we did. I was gonna practice them, but I didn't.
I took French in high school. I could maybe help.
All right, thank you, Matt.
Maybe, I don't know.
If not, I'll say them in Spanish. That'll be just as good.
La Rue. Okay, I got you.
We're good.
Speaking of which, shall we get started?
Yeah.
Started?
Started.
Oh my god. Yeah, LaRue is the opener.
I think it's quite a banger of an opener. I love just like the first few like hi-hat hits that just like build up before the full band comes in.
Yeah.
And then we get into like that. I think like the core thing that I really enjoy is the Rhodes keys.
Oh my god, yeah. There's such a highlight on this album.
All across like this album, they just sound like so smooth. They fit the tone so well, especially with Delbray's vocals. I love the accenting drum patterns as well. There's so much like fun stuff going on with rhythm, especially with how it complements the bass work. I also do the little like full band hits that lead into the key solo after the second verse. Like that's just a really cool moment. But the keys just really go the fuck off on this track. I love how they have it panning like left and right with like this reverb effect.
Yeah.
And then after like the instrumental break, like the moment when Dalbray comes back on vocals is such like a nice hit. I think it's a really cool opener.
It really is. It sets the tone so well, especially this is the one that's like da 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 da
Yeah.
It's really really good. I know we gave some love to the drums and the keys, but the bass work on this album is fucking incredible. On this track in particular, it really knows how to fit into like the pockets that the other instruments leave open in the arrangement.
Yeah.
The vocals sound all light and feathery. It's kind of rad. The key solo, like you had mentioned, is fucking phenomenal. Just, yeah. Honestly, like, there's some minimal sax, which you get more on the next track, which I was very happy about. I actually get it on a few tracks. There's some pretty good saxophone moments. But I think it's really good with, like, kind of showing you what the album is all about without giving, like, too much away. Because there is a surprising amount of things that this band has to show you on this record.
Yeah. Like, while it is consistent, like, the way that they play with just the overall style of, like, their instrumentation is really cool. And you get, like, a lot of different kind of variations on, like, what their core sound is.
Their Cortex.
Their Cortex, if you will.
Their Cortex sound, you know? Just so we don't get ahead of ourselves. I know how much you guys were enjoying that, but let's move on to track 2.
Yes. Autumne Colchiques, I think. Your guess is as good as mine. There will probably be pronunciations in the description for all of these.
Evan can kind of speak French. Maybe we could get him to
we'll do like have him like record bits and place it over my voice. I like that.
I like that.
I like that.
I also like what's happening instrumentally here.
I agree.
I dig the tempo a lot.
This one's cool. It kind of sounds like Persona music when it first starts.
I can kind of see that. It's like got a little bit of like a chase scene sort of vibe. It's very rapid.
It's like this is when like the heist goes wrong, you know, man.
Yeah, and then the next one is when the alarm goes off.
Yeah. If you want to know what we're talking about, check out our episode of Dummy by Portishead for Tom Hates Albums.
I like how fast that the song is going, but how like quiet the drums are.
There's a lot of control for like the speed at which like the song is moving.
The utilization of the synth specifically in this song I also found really cool. It has like a very nice sci-fi palette to it. The keys backing up the singers and then taking the melody when they sing something else is also something I really enjoyed. Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting how like the drums were like in the right channel.
Yeah,
they were like so noticeably in the right channel. But it was kind of cool. It just felt like a little lopsided, but I don't know. I mean, it's Autumn Colchiques.
Exactly, Matt. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Autumn
Colchiques?
Colchiques?
It's like coal cash.
Yeah. Shake your ass for some Colchiques. Oh my god.
I do agree. I do like the drums a lot on this track. They're doing this really cool pattern where there's so much emphasis on like the snare, doing these like repeated like syncopated accents that really help drive the track forward. I love how the bass mimics the synth specifically with the bass line playing, so the drums just kind of fill over top of it. And then Delbray's high notes are really impressive on this track specifically. And it sounds like she's truly like transcending above the mix, but I think is really cool. And the road keys just have a really fun melody and a pattern. This is a pretty short track. It's a nice follow-up, but I like it.
No, yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's a nice change of pace compared to the first track for sure.
Yeah. And definitely also shows you like their range for what you're going to be getting into.
Speaking of kind of showing off their range,
Yes.
we're on to L'Enfant.
L'Enfance.
Hey, your guess is as good as mine.
L'Enfant Samba. Samba.
Samba. L'Enfant Samba. The infant samba is what it stands. Is what it means in English.
I think this actually is a nice pairing with a different album that we talked about before,
The Infant Tango. I did think about that. This one is very Takanaka coded.
Yes,
which I
very
really
much so.
liked. The little yelps in the right channel, like I do like what it does for the actual song.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of them because it kind of just is like this over and over again, which I'm not like so large on, but also I gotta commend the vocalist for that because I would have hated being the vocalist for this part.
Just doing it all the time,
just fucking barking for like 4 minutes. But oh my god, the saxophone solo on this is so awesome.
It's excellent, man. It's very, very good. It helps it feel like super like classic, but like a little bit tropical, which is rad as fuck. Going for just like what this crack is trying to go for.
Yeah.
I think I like Dalbray's vocals more on like the clean stuff, like when it's more like a mellow. I think I prefer it on this track. I think the mixing on this track specifically kind of sucks, though.
Yeah, I mean, especially with how stereo it is, it's not the most pleased. It's a little fatiguing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It feels like everything's like kind of on top of each other. The keys kind of get overwhelmed by the percussion, and then you have like the vocals on top of it, which makes the whole track feel almost claustrophobic, which is how much is going on. It feels like there's not really a lot of breathing room for like any of the parts.
Man, it's like these fucking drums keep getting in the way. I want to hear my fucking barking, man.
Exactly.
Like, what more can a guy ask for?
Woof woof, dude.
It's a dog eat dog world, you know? Dog eat
dog font samba world.
Dog font. Yeah, dog font. My favorite, like sans serif fucking
dog font.
Oh, I'm gonna invent that. But yeah, no, I really like when the saxophone like does come in, it does kind of make the song a bit better for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
For sure.
It's just got some issues that are kind of hard to overlook. I think it's a good structure, but like a poor execution, I guess is what I would say.
They also probably could have cut like the vocal, just like if they had it like do it for a little bit, then like take a little break and then it come back and almost like bookend it. That might have been a bit better.
Yeah.
But the fact it goes on for at least like 2 or 3 minutes,
it's a longer one.
I was like, okay,
I'm over it.
Let's keep it moving.
I think the last thing I'll say is that I really like the auxiliary percussion on this one a lot.
That's true. It really, does add to the samba.
Exactly. Helps it with the unique identity, and like I love that the cowbells in the background as well. It really adds on to like the tropical feel. But not a favorite, and I think it definitely has some issues that holds back my enjoyment.
That makes sense.
But we move on to the title track, Troupeau Bleu.
This song makes me want to like open up a fancy hotel or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I can kind of picture myself like in the Grand Budapest Hotel and just being like, hey, this is my hotel and this song is playing in the lobby.
All right.
Be kind of cool.
We'll keep that in mind for Casa de Glace. Glace de...
Maison de Glace.
There we go.
I think it's house. Anyway, I like the flipping they do with only the 2 chords, like being the majority of the song. The bass is doing a fucking incredible job.
Dude, it's so fucking rad.
Me being me, I kind of want it more emphasized in the mix in some parts, but like when I can hear it, it's like tearing it up. It's fucking awesome.
I really like how this is almost kind of a dark change of pace from like the first 3 tracks. Like it switches things up, like which is a strength of this album. Like it knows like the pacing is pretty well done, and especially with keeping up the variety, this is a good example where it kind of like brings things down in like a kind of a darker kind of way. Like Dalbray's performance sounds a lot darker on the verses as she like soars with these like high pitched like wispy shrills on the choruses.
Yeah.
But then you get the horn section that backs it up with the sax solo. It's such an awesome moment.
It's kind of nasty.
I like the almost kind of bossa feel this track has, as well as the little key solo that leads into this really sick accented hits towards the end. And then like the slamming keys underscoring the saxophone towards the end, they go so hard. Also, the accented drum hits that accent the lyrics are really satisfied, especially paired with the bass line that matches the melody.
Yeah.
This track is pretty well done. I think it's a very fitting title track.
I really like how the vocals like pan from side to side too. That's like a nice little like cherry on top moment, I feel like, for the mixing, especially in comparison to the last track. And I also just want to say, like, I love that they chose a regular like keys sound font here. You know, just like making it sound like a regular like piano that's being slammed down.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of adds this nice quality to it that like the other tracks aren't like missing per se, but it's cool that they switched it up even to that level, you know, instead of just using like Rhodes.
Yeah.
I would make the argument this track is a little too long, which is something
That's
on
fair.
this album that I've noticed like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like most of the tracks are like fair like lengths on their own, but then every once in a while there's like a little bit of bloat where there's like a 5 minute on top of a 4 minute. Like,
yeah, and like the stuff that makes it that long is just like repeating stuff we've already heard.
it's cool how they can hold it all together when it's like very jam based. But yeah, that's definitely the only like one of the only real like critiques that I have, I guess.
I think that's fair. I would agree with like some tracks down the line specifically.
Yeah,
I think there are some corners that could be cut.
for sure.
Should I move on to the next track?
Yeah.
Next up, we have Prelude A Go Round. This one is a very synthy and funky start with this like kind of bare bones buildup led by the synth and the bass hits. But it like slowly gets like clearer and clearer with more buildup as more instruments come in, which is like a really cool way to kind of like get you invested before everything just kind of like comes in together.
I kind of felt like this one had a bit of a darker feel to it compared to the rest. Like it is again a really cool change of pace. It almost has like a sexy like groove thing going on, especially with like the slow drums that they kind of do with the castanets. I love when the keys slide and make that like dreamy noise at one point in the song, almost like they're like conjuring up something like fantastical in their mind or something, like a glissando. Very interesting production choices overall. I think it's cool, but like you said, you kind of described it as like stripped back like a little bit, right? It's I do find it like feeling a little empty in parts, but like again, the saxophone kind of saves the day once it comes in, and it makes it feel a little bit more like
more full.
Yeah.
I think it's valid. I really like the echoey effects on the vocals. It almost seems like it's helping it to kind of haunt this track. Makes it feel like a little, like you said, conjury, a little witchy. I love the synths in the background with like these held chords. It almost acts like a string section. I think that's a really cool production choice.
It's pretty tight.
The drums are a lot more simple on here, but I really like how they compensate for that with the kick patterns they do. It's not like super complicated, but it just kind of helps keep driving the track and kind of spices things up a little bit. It's just a kind of a cool jammy track that gives all the instrumentals some time to show off their chops in like a pretty low key way. So I enjoy it, and I also think it's funny how the prelude is a lot longer than the actual track that it's leading up to.
There some. Oh my god, there was something else from this season. Was it the reprise of Dreamboat Annie that was longer than any of the
the previous Dreamboat
Annies? Yeah. Oh man, that's the theme of this season.
Exactly.
If we can boil that down to like 3 or 4 words, we got gold on our hands.
This would be a perfect short for YouTube.
This will be what people remember the season for. It'll be the accurate slide of
season 4 of the family
of podcast themes in general. Oh my god! Shall we get to this quick track though?
Yes, go around. I think, like I said, it's funnier that the prelude is 3 minutes longer than this track.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like this one's like a little piano like interlude, which is neat. I like specifically how like conflicting the chords sound. And how they really just give the piano a chance to shine.
Yeah.
For what, like a minute?
Yeah, pretty much. I really like just how like tender this one is. Almost kind of gives me Billy Joel vibes, with just like the way that like it's arranged and how it sounds. I also found out this is one of the more popular ones of this album. It has like some of the most streams out of all the tracks on here, which is pretty neat.
There is like a Street Life Serenader vibe to this track.
Yeah.
From what I'm like recalling in my head. But yeah, no, it is cool. I wouldn't expect this one to be the popular one.
Same. I think it's second popular because, of course, we'll get to that one.
We will get to that one.
But yeah, it had like, I think like over 1 million streams. I'd have to double check.
That's wild.
Yeah.
On Spotify, I presume?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But shall we get on to this next track?
Yes. The House of Jour d'Hiver.
That's right, man.
This one I feel like if we're like talking about comparing tracks that sound darker from one another, this one has like a sinister vibe to it.
Okay.
That I could not like quite place.
Gotcha.
I think it was just like the types of chords that were used, but like there was just something that was really like I don't know,
like
just
off-putting.
yeah, but like in a cool way. Like I'm not like knocking it for being sinister. I do like sinister things, like
like Sinister Gates of Avenged Sevenfold.
yes, exactly.
And Sinister the movie.
The Sinister Six,
Yeah,
from Marvel.
That's right.
Count Rapula.
Sinister 2, the movie.
Yeah, AJ's naming actual things with sinister in it. I'm just naming one character from fucking What We Do in the Shadows. But yeah, no, this is a pretty neat track. I will say there was like kind of a fatigue with doing an active listen on this album at like the middle stretch of it. Up until probably like a little after track 9.
Yeah.
But
I think I can see why. 'Cause this track, I think, is the prime example of like, this is too long.
Yeah.
Because it goes on and kind of just does the same things over and over again. And like when you think it's going to be over, it just repeats itself. It's kind of like, okay, this just feels unnecessary.
It is cool though. Like the bass is so fucking active on this track though.
For real,
it
dude.
almost feels like it's leading the piano forward, which I really thought was cool that they had that kind of like synergy. And the vocals are really good.
Yes.
I really like took notice to how much I enjoyed them on this track.
I would agree. I really just like dig the main musical hook and like the shrill kind of key hits that accent the vocals. I also love the trilling keys and the aux percussion that's kind of used all throughout, as like the keys like play this melody that underscores Dalbray's vocals. When the drums and the keys like really kind of come in and the track picks up with this almost like kind of glam sounding piano solo, that's a really awesome moment. And I also agree that the bass is a highlight on here. It just kind of travels all over the map in the best way possible, just giving a nice backbone while like still finding moments to like play around with some like solo moments.
Yeah.
The ending is also really beautiful with like these trilling instrumentals kind of coming back, as well as some nice front and center bass grooves to kind of close out the track. So I think this one has some good moments, but the overall whole leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yeah. I would say this one is probably for me, maybe not like the weakest track, but definitely one that I got like a little bit tired from after a while.
And that's fair. But this next one,
it's kind of cool.
one of my favorites.
Mary and Jeff.
Yes, this one is rad as fuck.
It's got like real like disco feel to
dude.
it, which I was super like fucking with.
Yeah.
What was it? I feel like it was low key kind of ABBA coded in a way.
Yeah.
Like I was getting a lot of oh my god, Voulez-Vous vibes, specifically kind of like the Summer Night City
Gotcha.
like feel that it has. And I really enjoyed this a lot. I wouldn't have expected like disco borderline like on this stage of the album.
Yeah, but it fits their style like perfectly. I'll also say if you want to call them like choruses, maybe pre-choruses, it kind of sounds almost like Space Oddity a little bit, like with like the swelling like string sections, like the spacey kind of sound effects. The melody is very reminiscent of Bowie, which is really cool. The overall like groove itself goes so hard, like the da 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 da. It's so catchy. I love the main piano riff. This track is also a tribute to their original bassist before he left the band.
Oh damn.
Yeah. So he left before their debut album, which is a little sad, but he had obligations, I believe, in the United States that he had to take care of.
I feel like since he had obligations, but he's French, you got to say it with like a French accent. Obligations.
That's right. All our French fans are going to leave now.
Yeah, all two of them.
All two of them. We'll miss you, Pierre. And
all deux of them.
au revoir.
Au revoir. Oh my gosh, that'll be great. When we say goodbye for the hiatus, we'll have to say goodbye in every language
for every fan from a different country.
Fuck, it's just gonna be a lot of Spanish. Because remember, the majority of our listeners are from Spain. Actually, it's a lie. Apparently, they're from Norway.
From Norway,
which is fascinating.
Gotcha.
Like the number one is the U.S., but then apparently we've had some like our second one is Norway.
That's kind of rad,
which is very fascinating. But yeah, this track is really cool. I also I think the names of all these are really fascinating when you kind of look at like the track list as a whole. It's like, why is this one called Mary and Jeff? Do they like disco?
Well,
who are they?
Jeff is the bassist. I think Mary. Who is Mary? Is Mary on this album? I don't think Mary's on this album.
Mary.
There's I know Jeff. We know who Jeff is.
We know Jeff.
Canonically, we know Jeff. I don't know Mary. Mary might be like filler.
I see.
Yeah, not in the manga.
Not in the manga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary is the fucking Broly entirety arc. Mary is part of the Broly movie, exactly. I think, in the Cortex cinematic universe.
Well, shall we move on to the big kahuna, Matt?
We.
Wheat? October 1971.
which is supposed to be October 8th, 1971, I
Gotcha.
think.
Okay.
I
That
don't
makes
know.
sense.
I don't know what about this date made them write this, but yeah. I will say, okay, I do like this track, and we should address the elephant in the room right now.
Yeah.
This is the song that MF Doom sampled for his most like quintessential tracks, One Beer. And I really like the way this song is sampled and utilized in that song a lot more than the actual song itself.
I think that's valid. It's a lot more of a slower, more kind of like methodical version of what you hear in One Beer. But I think for what it is, it kind of works. I think I obviously prefer One Beer more than this track. But hearing it like in the wild, because I didn't really have any like context for this album before I listened to it. I listened to this during our hiatus. I was playing Hyrule Warriors. I heard the da-na-na-na, and I popped the fuck. I was like, no fucking way! It's fucking MF Doom!
And lower pitch. it is
slow down reverb.
Slow down reverb. It's already kind of slow. Oh my god. No, it's really interesting, and it's kind of cool how they like play around with such like a very like particular sounding groove.
Yeah.
I also think like the vocals are so interesting on here, even compared to the rest of the album. It's interesting to think that like MF Doom found this song. You know what I mean?
I was like, I'm gonna use that.
Did he find this in like a record shop, listen through the whole thing, and then he just wait, play that again? Like,
I mean, he like had a knack for sampling, so I would imagine that he just like had a huge library of stuff to choose from, or maybe he grew up listening to it too.
that's so wild.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the reason why a lot of the world like knows this album.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
I know. It's pretty cool that like hip hop has just kind of taken this in as like a core staple of like their sampling sound. And there's a lot of really cool history that's attached to all these tracks. But as for the song itself,
Yes.
I think it's pretty cool. I really like hearing it in a more kind of methodical context. Sounds a lot more desperate and somber than One Beer itself.
Yeah.
But it still carries like a lot of power during the choruses. I also like the inclusion of the timpani, plus the way the bass that just walks all over this track is really nice. Just kind of strutting along the melody and finding moments to add its own flair beneath the piano. We also get some really nice synths in here that provide a lot more low-pitched and groovy moments, and I love how the drums bounce off of those specifically. They kind of combine very well. And all the different sections are really cool. There's like a little double time section where the keys just follow the vocals as the drums just hit these like rapid hi-hats. It kind of weaves together into like almost like a composition piece, which is pretty rad. So I like it for what it is, and I'm glad that it exists because it got us a really fucking awesome song.
Naturally. I think honestly my brain's just too familiar with the other one, so it just sounds weird. It's the same like with Daft Punk's samples. Like if you listen to where they derive from, it just sounds weird. Like if you listen to Cola Bottle Baby in comparison to Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, it's gonna sound really weird.
Of course.
Like, why does Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger have vocals in it? The fuck? Human vocals,
Where are
I
my
should
words?
say. Where are my 4 words? No, but I do think it's interesting. Like the main hook is the da 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 da, and it just cuts off at the very last one. It's fascinating the way they did that.
I agree.
I do have just maybe it's just because of the familiarity aspect, but it feels uncanny to me. Like I don't know.
That's valid. It's different from what like you're used to.
It feels like I don't know. I don't think I have anything to. It's just uncanny, I guess is the word.
Hey, fair enough.
That's the buzzword of this episode.
That's right. As well as songs where the prelude / reprise are longer than the title track itself.
I will say uncanny 4 more times in this episode.
That's right. The rule of 5s.
It's we measure in fifths. Yeah. We established this on the Talking Heads.
That's right.
First Tom Hates albums. We do the rule of fifths.
Yep. Keep that in mind, family heads.
Oh my god. But shall we continue?
Yes. Next up, we go into the Sabat Suite, named after Christopher Sabat of Dragon Ball fame.
Word.
It's not true.
I figured. That would have been so fucking cool, though. But then again, 1970.
He's probably a child, if not born yet, if I had to guess.
Just this really cool kid, you know?
Yes. One day you're going to play Vegeta and Piccolo, and that's fucking awesome.
This is a really weird one because it's a 3-part suite.
Yeah.
And I find it very fascinating the way that it's built. Because it's very groovy in this part with like the clavinets.
Yep.
Like it kind of steals the show and it gets into this like it dives into this groove like immediately. for like 38 seconds.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
a short one. But I agree. I think it's very cool for what it is. I like the usage of bongo specifically, how it just
Yeah.
kind of underscores the whole track and just keeps it grooving along. I also dig the way that the keys travel through the channels and how they all just combine together to create such a nice melody. So I think it's a cool kind of intro. But short and sweet, good for what it is.
I very much like this next part a lot more.
Yes, Sabat Part 2.
This one's so fascinating when I was listening to it because like it kind of launches into this almost like not even like big band because it's still the same band, like the same band setup, but it has like this weird like jazz age kind of feel to it.
Man. Mm-hmm.
And then not only that, they do studio imagery stuff where they add like a crowd hooping and hollering as the band is playing. So it almost feels like you're at like Gatsby's party or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really neat thing that they did. I don't know why they did it, but it's pretty cool.
I would agree. I also like how seamless it is from the first part specifically. I like the almost kind of like scat singing the lyrics, the vocals do as well. Just kind of riding along the sax melody is really neat.
Yeah.
Gives it just like a kind of a classical like swing feel. I also agree the studio imagery on here is probably the highlight. Just really makes it feel like almost like I said, like a speakeasy or like a Roaring 20s party. The key solo is incredible, but the sax specifically coming in at the end is nasty as fuck. I also love it when the drums just get like super heavy, the bass gets more prominent, and the way that the sax just wails at the very end is just ear candy. Like the way this track ends is brilliant.
Shall we get to part 3?
Yes, I actually don't have too much about this one.
It just kind of finishes up what the first two started, kind of going back to like the initial groove that we heard throughout the album and specifically from like part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I also really don't have a lot to say about it besides like, that's just really short and very similar essentially.
It's a nice little finale. It just kind of like slows down the tempo with his like grandiose like key progression. It's very satisfying. It sounds really cool and a fitting finale, but not much to talk about.
A fitting penultimate track.
Exactly, because we are at the final track, Mad Bass.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah.
They get kind of like, they get a little wild here.
They do. This one almost kind of feels like post-credit as opposed to the last one, which feels like finale.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good way of looking at it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of am having trouble like remembering it. I just remember that it's like really groovy.
Yeah, very funky, a little more whimsical. Like the organ kind of comes back, which is cool. I also dig how the saxophone takes over for the main melody and how the organ amplifies that as well, especially with the crispy drum beat. The Rhodes keys get a nice little solo a little later, and I also like the moment where it repeats like the ascending melody over and over again. And then the transition to the ride cymbal for the drum beat on the outro is really sick as the sax just kind of go off. So this one's kind of like them just jamming, playing around. Good enough for what it is, as like almost like a little bonus track.
Yeah.
But it's not really like super necessary. But I guess with that, that'll bring us to our final thoughts. So Matt, what did you think of Troupeau Bleu by Cortex?
I think I like the majority of this album, and it's really cool to see like, well, one, how much this album has to offer, but also the impact that it apparently had in like the sampling scene.
Yeah.
I could definitely see a world where like maybe in more of a passive listen, I'd probably enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, this one, although it does do a good job of sort of like bending genres a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
I want to say this album is like one that I would like shoot back to too many times.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I might need to be in like a specific mood to be in this, or like I might have to like, I mean, a lot of these made it onto like a playlist that I have of groove type songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if like I'd listen to this album front to back like too often, but it's still very good for what it's worth. The instrumentation is really tight. The vocals are awesome. I think the bass is definitely my favorite part about this album.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say my favorite tracks would be the first track.
Mm-hmm.
As quirky as it is, L'Enfant Samba is
Nice.
kind of fun. Even quirks and all, imperfections and all. It's like
Barks and all.
Barks and all. I like what it's trying to do, so I can kind of respect it, even though like I probably would not really listen to it outside the album.
Mm-hmm.
Mary and Jeff is a really good song.
It's banger.
It's really cool. And I do kind of like the Sabat suite, considering like even though it's 3 songs, it's like
They all kind of go together.
yeah, and it's like not too long of like a runtime.
Yeah.
But I would say even though this album is only 41 minutes long, I definitely was getting a bit fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure this would have room to grow on me, especially like if we're talking about it being in relation to like my end of the season ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think I mostly enjoyed the experience, but definitely not like like a favorite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's valid.
I think it's cool though. I think it's cool all the things that they decide to do on each track and how they try their best to like work with what they have and make something different of each. I would give this probably like solid. I always say solid, but then it's a decimal. I'd give this like somewhere like 7 range, like upper 7s. I don't know, like maybe like 7.5, and then put this in like low B.
I think that's pretty fair. I think I would agree. I think the more when I first listened to this, like I loved it. Like I was hooked. I thought all the tracks were great. I thought like the instrumentation was awesome. But I think bringing it on this episode, I kind of liked it less and less the more I listened to it. I feel like it is a bit repetitive at points, and the pacing can be an issue at some. I think it usually is a nice kind of easy 40 minutes, though there are moments that feel bloated and could be trimmed back a little bit. But I think the instrumentation definitely kind of makes up for it.
Definitely.
Like these guys are pretty fucking insane on everything that they're doing. Like all the sax solos and melodies, the keys specifically kind of steal the show for me. I love the bass work. I also love the drum work a lot. And Dalbray's vocals have so much range in terms of like what each track is going for, and she fits the mold perfectly for like whatever the track calls for. My favorites are also La Rue. I do enjoy the title track. I like Prelude I Go Around. I like Marriott Jeff, of course. I like October 1971, as well as Sabat Part 2 and Part 3. And there's a lot of really cool moments on here, and I am very happy that like this album has become such a staple in sampling because it's very easy to see why. Like it's just such a core example of like what is just good funk, good jazz, and like how hip hop is kind of based around those genres. It's a perfect kind of template to do whatever you want with it. So if you haven't checked out this album, give it a listen. Let us know what you think. But I'd probably give this album overall a B+. I think it's pretty solid for what it is.
I think on a good day, like if I was like, let's just play this album, depending on what I'm doing, it could be a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not like warranting of a bad rating at all. Like it's all really good. I think it was just like really the repetitive nature. But I like the fact that they're consistently good on each track. They bring it their all, which I'm really happy about.
And I would agree. It's definitely like a preference thing. And I feel like I like listening to this album more to vibe out than to like dissect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way to describe it because I think I honestly feel the same.
Mm-hmm. But an album that I do like to dissect is coming up.
God, before I launch into anything with this album, I fucking love this album so much.
It's a good one.
I discovered it, again, way too late in life at the age of almost 24 that
Hell
I am.
yeah, dude.
At time of recording. Yeah, no, this album is fucking incredible. But I digress. We're here to talk about Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco. An album that I did not write down a history for, so I'm going to verbatim read the wiki. Because genuinely, the history's a little involved.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that I think it'll provide context that I probably wouldn't be able to if I just like shorthanded it. But Yankee Hotel Foxtrot is the 4th studio album by the American rock band Wilco, originally self-released on September 18th, 2001 on Wilco's website as streamed audio, and later as a retail release on April 23rd, 2002 through None Such Records. Recording sessions for this album began in late 2000. These sessions were documented for a film called I'm Trying to Break Your Heart, which marred by conflicts including a switch in drummers and disagreements among the band members and engineers about songs. Despite this, the album was mostly completed by early 2001. The album showcased a more atmospheric and experimental sound than the band's previous work, and has been described as art rock and indie rock by music critics. It was the band's first album with drummer Glenn Koch, and the last one with multi-instrumentalist and songwriter Jay Bennett.
Gotcha.
Reprise Records, Wilco's record label at the time, refused to release the album as they felt unhappy with the result, which would lead to Wilco's departure from the label. The band subsequently acquired the right to the album and later streamed the entire album for free on their website on September 18th, 2001.
That fucking rules.
7 days after the planned release date. In November of that year, Wilco signed with None Such, who gave the album its first official retail release in 2002. And Yankee Hotel Foxtrot received widespread acclaim from music critics just upon release. It's their best-selling album, reached number 13 on Billboard 200.
Damn.
2020 Rolling Stone ranked it number 225 on its updated 500 greatest albums of all time, and it is a fucking banger of an album. Also, the members include Jeff Tweedy on vocals, guitar, and songwriting, John Stierat on bass, Leroy Bach on just a bunch of different instruments, Glenn Koch on drums, percussion, and sound effects, and Jay Bennett also just playing a lot of instruments.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds like a very tumultuous history.
Yeah, no, I was trying to like summarize it earlier when I was like gonna write down the history for it, but I was like, I don't think I'd be able to like actually capture all of that in a few sentences because it's very elaborate. First, getting like an unofficial online just free stream
which
release,
is cool as fuck.
Yeah, it's cool that they like their audience that much for sure. But this album, it's very deserving of a free release and just an album that like everybody should hear.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of great content on here all around.
Absolutely. Like lyrically, instrumentally, emotionally, vibe-wise.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
I had only heard a couple songs on this album prior to like the last month or two when I like officially decided to sit down and listen to it. And like hearing the songs that I liked in the context of like the other songs too, I think just made me love this album overall. Because I think the only songs that I had heard prior to the full album listen were Jesus, Etc., Heavy Metal Drummer, and then Pot Kettle Black.
Yeah. Checks out.
And then everything else, I was like, whoa.
There's a whole Wilco world out there.
So that's my little history.
And your little mastery?
And my little mastery.
Nice. I tried listening to this album when I was in college because I heard like a lot of great things about it. And this was a recommendation from a friend of the podcast, Evan. But upon listening to it, I was very off-put by the opener. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like this. And I just kind of stopped, which a huge disservice to myself. Because then years later, I was listening to this like at work, maybe like last year, 2 years ago. And it's really fucking good.
It's got a lot of great stuff to offer for sure.
Absolutely. But with that, shall we hop into the opener?
Bro, let's do it. I'm so ready.
All right. So we open up with I Am Trying to Break Your Heart.
Very good track. It does a lot of really interesting stuff. Like, it utilizes all the different elements of the album, but like for a few seconds before it goes into the more like warm rock palette that it has throughout the rest of the record. Feels like it's almost like the song is like waking up. You know what I mean?
It's very like slow and like lethargic throughout the entire thing. And it's pretty long too.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like 6 verses in here.
Yeah. What's his fucking name? Jeff Tweedy. Yeah. No, he has a lot to say.
That he does. But what he's saying is pretty cool. I really dig the vibraphones on this track specifically.
Oh my God, yeah.
Beautiful inclusion for the main melody. And I also just love how disjointed the instrumental kind of sounds.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the ending part in Undone, the Sweater song by Weezer, but like for the whole song. And it somehow kind of works, which is interesting.
It's off-putting, but it's captivating.
And also, I think like kind of captures the nature and the mood of this album really well.
Definitely. Yeah, just kind of trying to figure things out along the way.
Very nice usage of stereo mixing.
Totally. Yeah. And I think the auxiliary percussion is a great example of that because there's a lot of really cool like textural instruments that just like really help boost this track. Like there's like washboard, there's like pots and pans, like maybe like a ratchet in there too.
Yeah.
Just like these like wacky things that seem random but are kind of necessary to make the track what it is.
It makes it almost feel like a composition in a weird way with like some soundscapey shit. The pitch percussion, which I think is the vibraphone that you had mentioned a second ago, is really neat. And I love the way it just like falls apart at the very end.
Exactly. The lyrics are fucking brutal all across this track. Like one highlight is I'd always thought that if I held you tightly, you'd always love me like you did back then. Then I fell asleep and the city kept blinking. What was I thinking when I let you back in? I was like, Jesus Christ,
Fuck
dude.
me, man. Jeff, are you good, man?
He is not.
He's really not.
As will be proven.
If we can take a second, I just want to say I love his vocal delivery a lot. There's something like really worn down by the way that he sings, and his voice and his style just feels very like lived in when you're listening to it. Like it feels like he's singing for like you or the person who's hurting in a weird way, which is fascinating because I didn't think like a voice could capture that feeling, but he kind of does.
That's a good way to put it. There's a lot of like emotional and like strain and just kind of almost like tiredness, like defeat.
No, for real, but like you relate to it in a weird way.
Yeah. which I think is a really just a testament to this album. That you can just kind of reach out to just a performance as opposed to like what he's saying as well.
For sure.
I think the last thing I say, I really love the piano. Very excellent after the bridge. And I love just how confident, cohesive it sounds after like primarily being like really kind of sporadically used. And then it gets like a moment to shine like towards the middle, which I think is a really kind of cool like payoff to what we heard in the beginning.
Definitely.
But I'm down to move on to this next track because it fucking rules.
Oh my God, this song is fucking awesome.
Yeah, Camera's awesome. Such a good track. It has like almost like a Residence Core transition.
Yeah, because doesn't it kind of do like a and then like it goes straight into it?
Yeah,
I'm very annoyed because on my listening experiences with this album, there's supposed to be a seamless transition, but again, YouTube Music does a fucking little digital stop thing in the middle, and it's so annoying.
That sucks.
It's like, let me have my seamless transitions, damn it. But it is cool, like how you kind of see their main sound on this track. It's very acoustic, but has like a lot of energy. I said like a nice return to form because I'm pretty sure like most of their music kind of sounds like this sort of vibe.
I've only listened to one other Wilco album, which was their one from I think 2023, and it sounds like kind of similar to this, maybe like a little darker, a little more kind of like slower, but like relatively the same.
I'm a fan of how like gentle and quiet the synth is in the mix, yet like it does a good job of filling the space.
Totally.
It's used like super supplementally overall. The fucking like clinking of the pots and pans in this song mixed with like the drums.
Yeah.
Like it's all like clinky as if they're like bouncing fucking like shit off of pots and pans. But then like the drums have like this interesting texture to them as well. It's a nice like contrast here.
Yeah.
Everything's mixed so interesting on this album.
But it works really well. And the marimba is a really nice inclusion here for like some melody stuff, kind of taking place from the vibes. I agree. I really love the acoustic guitar and the flutes in the background of this track too. Like they're fucking beautiful. I love how like this track really blends the acoustic and the electric just brilliantly. I also really dig the backup vocals in the last pre-chorus. It kind of reminds me of the Kinks, which is what I really kind of gravitate towards for this track. But it's a really nice follow-up. It was an instant playlist ad when I first heard it. Very, very good.
No, for real. I need a camera. I described the drums as like distorted and washy, but like not loud, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Also, the pitch percussion sounds like a doorbell, which I kind of liked. I don't know why.
There was a cymbal, so I liked it.
Ooh, a cymbal. Shall we get to a track that is arguably one of my favorites on this album?
Sure. I'm very curious to hear why.
It's called Radio Cure, and I don't know what it is about it, but like the fucking like Nick Drake-esque feel with like its focus on the guitar picking pattern in the beginning. I love that. But then there's like this marching like drums thing happening in the background that start to drive it forward, followed by some really cool studio imagery, which I believe is, I want to say, maybe not a synth, but it might be like some kind of E-piano through a wah pedal.
Okay.
I was trying to look it up to see because I was so interested. Like, how are they making that radio sound?
Yeah.
It's all
warbly
really and weird. Cool. It's so cool. Oh my God, you're right.
And it fits perfectly for like what the track is, just like the aesthetic of this track. The main like sonic palette of this track reminds me a lot of Quebec, which I think which I think might also be a reason like why you really like this as well. It's just very intimate acoustic guitars, like the slightest bit of like uncanniness in the production and the execution. Also, the lyrics are pretty brutal. I dig the repeated motif of cheer up, honey, I hope you can, just kind of like over and over again. As well as one lyric that stood out to me was, oh, distance has no way of making love understandable.
I wrote that one down too.
God damn, bro.
And then something about that, and then later down the line, he says something like picking apples for the kings and queens of things I've never seen.
Yep.
That's a hard-ass lyric right there. I fucking love that shit. Yeah, no, this track is awesome and brutal, but great.
Yeah.
The studio imagery of like the warbling radio and the left and right channels as it begins to like hum to life to join in with the song. There's something really cool about this track. I also love when the drums begin to roll off.
Yep.
But like it's so quiet and everything just kind of like flows and swells into the mix without getting too loud. There's like a weird intimacy with this song.
Definitely.
Which I really like.
I think intimate is definitely a good way to put it. Like it feels almost as if like this track is talking to you, like almost like a broadcast you're kind of just like catching the end of.
I can see that.
With the studio imagery. Just like the way that it kind of progresses and moves is very interesting, very captivating. Not one that like I seek out, but on the album I'm very happy to listen to it.
I would agree. I don't think I would listen to this outside of the album very often, but like it is kind of a treat to hear because there's so many cool elements happening. Also, the Quebec comparison, it's kind of wild. I never thought that in like the few times I've listened to this because that's like so accurate.
Yeah.
Especially with like how gentle most of the instrumentation is. And then every once in a while, there's like something kind of like
off,
kind of like funky going on.
I think like maybe Alkin Road, Among His Tribe. It was giving me like kind of vibes of those tracks specifically.
I could hear Jeff singing Among His Tribe.
Honestly, yeah.
That'd be kind of dope. They definitely know who Ween are.
They have to, yeah.
They probably met them.
That's true. Similar scene. Not the same, but similar.
Yeah, very much not the same.
Yeah. But should I move on to this next track?
This track that goes hard as fuck.
Oh, yeah. War on War, one of my favorites. Love this one quite a lot.
First of all, the E-piano, the acoustic guitar banging, and then the drums charging forward. Chef's kiss. Followed by the Nord piano through the wah pedal again, mimicking the radio. That shit's ridiculous. Like, where did they come up with this shit?
Instrumentally, I just really love how it's arranged. It has like almost like a classic, like just straightforward bouncy feel. This is just really good to listen to. I love the use of channels in the intro as we get this like really cool like syncopated tom beat that kind of goes back and forth. I also love the messaging a lot on this track. It's super simple, but like the lyrics are very effective for what it is. And it also works as a really good hook.
Yeah.
One lyric that stood out to me was like, you have to learn how to die if you want to be alive. Like, yeah, that goes hard as well. I love the guitar and the synth effects on this one, just adding like a spacey element to like this kind of smooth classic indie rock track. And I like how it kind of starts to fall apart at the end with the drums getting like louder and more hectic. I think it's a kind of a cool progression for like this topic.
The spacey kind of vibe is very apt because I describe this album as like a retro futuristic aesthetic, which I like a lot. I said retro mostly because there is like the element of like older sounding instruments definitely on here, but then the way that they're able to make it just like team with all this energy and life through the wah pedal when all like the different things are doing with the synths, it's really, really fascinating. I wrote fucking baller even.
Damn, certified baller.
I love when like I described it as the radio solo. It's fucking badass. I love that shit. And I also really like how like the piano in general just establishes the instrumental hook on this track.
Totally.
It's a very well structured song.
Yeah.
I think.
Very much so. And I think this also starts like a really good run of tracks on this album.
Oh yeah. You kind of start to get like, I feel like the first 3 tracks, it definitely establishes like the sonic tone. But then like you start to get into some kind of like post 9/11 like moodiness here, which I think is a huge draw factor to this album. Considering it makes sense, they wrote a lot of this like from 2001 to 2002 or like
2000, 2001.
Yeah, 2001, that was it. It would not be 2002. It was released on 2002, but that was like the time frame they wrote it. So I'm sure their headspace was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
What just happened?
It's very interesting though. Speaking of interesting, shall we get to this next track?
Oh, this next track.
One of my personal favorites on the album. I think my first Wilco song I've ever heard. It's called Jesus, Etc. Great take on religion.
Totally.
And just how to react to it. And I love the usage of just the violins.
For real. Yeah, it's like, I think one of, if not the only track to like use like the string section like that prominently.
Yeah.
But it's such a good hook, man. The violin is such a nice change of pace. And I love how like it kind of complements like the bass line and the Rhodes keys too, as well as the vocals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like it's such like a good kind of like defining like element of this track.
There's kind of like this there's like this contrast of like the grandiose nature of religious traditions being like kind of a big deal, and then he's also just like, Jesus, don't cry or whatever. Like he's speaking so like sweetly to Jesus, the larger than life like figure throughout all of humanity. You know, like
Jeff Tweedy can talk to him.
Exactly. Someone has to be able to. But no, like I love the way that the band holds back just enough to let all the other like classical instruments breathe. And the pizzicato strings in the one section. I was eating out of the palm of their hand. It's just like season 1.
That's true, dude. Everyone knows if pizzicato strings are in the mix, Matt will be eaten.
I will be eaten. Oh my gosh.
I think one thing that I also really dig is the slide guitar on the bridge.
Yeah. Oh my
It's
God.
brilliant. I love how like the drums kind of chill out a bit to kind of complement that, like, switching over to the ride cymbal. I do also agree the pizzicato strings are excellent during the last verse. It sounds so pleasant. And the way that they add like synths in here too, add like a nice kind of fluttery effect on the second verse, but that kind of like leads the strings back in too. It's a very tender moment, but it also just really shows how well they're able to blend the acoustic and the electric.
Plus, it's like you kind of have this overall theme of the singer basically like searching for things offered by religious institutions to see if they really work, but like not really finding any satisfaction or like relief from their plights in any way. But he's not like outright saying like, oh man, this isn't satisfying like what I need to be satisfied. This is just like, we're just living. So sorry, Jesus. You know, like,
I tried.
Jesus.
Yeah, etc.
Just the concept, you know, just there he is.
He's right here, actually.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to do that.
No.
Yeah, we definitely can't. Who would we?
Not our Norwegian fans.
Oh, fuck yeah. They're huge Jesus heads.
Yeah.
Christians, otherwise known as.
Jesus heads.
What's up, Jesus heads? When we become like a family, like religious podcast.
Yeah, we convert.
Yeah. Oh my. What's up, Trinity heads?
Last time we talked about Episcopalians.
Just the concept. Oh, Episcopalians.
Gave them a D tier, actually.
Actually, an E tier for Episcopalians. Tom joins it. More like Episcopalians.
Dude, all right, save this. We got to write this down. This is too good.
The worst part is he probably, if we said Episcopalians on Tom and Tom, he would have gotten there.
Do you want to test that on the next episode? Because he's not listening to this one.
That's true. He only listens to his own.
Yeah.
I respect it though. If my name was like on the title of
a project.
Episodes, I can't say that I wouldn't either. But anywho, shall we get to track number 6?
Yes. Ashes of American Flags.
What a fucking contrast of the drums on this track specifically. Especially in comparison to the last track of how just like, you know, chill they were. Here, they sound so fucking like, so impactful, just so much like energy.
They're brutal. Yeah.
But it's weird the way that they're mixed amidst this like stripped back, rustic country-ish ballad. Like, the fuck? And it's also heavy and like tinny. Like, what is happening here?
This track is, I would describe it as like suffocating. Because like you kind of come in, there's a lot of clashing elements that like kind of complement each other, which is pretty impressive. The strings are really beautiful and grab my attention like right away, but like the lumbering pace of this track like automatically has just kind of like makes you kind of lock in for what you're going to be in store. I also like the organ breaks that are peppered throughout, as well as the striking electric guitars just really cut through everything else. Like that's really nice that they're able to kind of like give the instrumentals like these moments to kind of capture your attention for like what's like necessary.
If we're also talking striking, some of these lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, the one that hit me so hard, I know I would die if I could come back new, is like so nihilistic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Holy fucking shit.
A little real.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
This is one of the songs that definitely adds to the timelessness of this album.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they layer all the drums on this track, kind of going back to the music. All the tones of the instruments, it feels like they're all almost in their own little world, but like you said, it works mysteriously. The synthesizer is so ethereal. I love the way that's kind of like it's kind of like a glue holding everything together. And then like the way the acoustic guitar just kind of like bangs on every downbeat, kind of grounding it in a way is really cool. The way he sings about being just so like underwhelmed about how like life in America is currently is so poignant, especially like, you know, again, timeless.
At that time, yeah.
It's wild. Again, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
Yeah.
No, the song is more relevant somehow now than when it released.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But at least we have something to hold on to, I guess.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. Anything else, or should I move on to the next track?
I think we should move on to Heavy Metal Drummer.
Heavy Metal Drummer is quite possibly my favorite song on the album.
Oh, I can definitely see why.
Yeah, it's the crowd pleaser one, but it's just a really well written song. It's perfect for what it is.
I think also like thematically, it's kind of a nice breath of fresh air because it's more just anecdotal, talking about like these members of a band.
Yeah, and like this kind of like longing for like the simpler times where you were kind of like going to like these metal shows where like, you know, times were simpler before you kind of outgrew these bands for like more kind of responsible, more kind of things in line with your current tastes, which I think is kind of neat, kind of framing it around the story of this girl falling in love with a drummer from one of those old bands.
And it's nice because like it fits instrumentally too with this sort of like upbeat pop rock feel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Big Thief definitely with their newest album took a bit of inspiration from this track.
Gotcha.
Like I was getting kind of an incomprehensible vibe from like the drums specifically here. Yeah, no, it almost sounds like joyous as like he's talking about the loss of his innocence and his youth.
I miss the innocence, yeah.
It's so fascinating. And I love how the synths just kind of like bubble and warble through the end of the song.
Yep.
And it's cool, like with that in contrast with the other synth being so like deep and acting as almost like a bass line over top the other bass.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's interesting how they layer instruments here.
I love how this track just like sounds overall and how it just progresses. It just feels like a very well crafted song. I like how the distortion from the last track cutting out leads directly into this one too. It's a really nice transition. It's super straightforward, but like you can really just see the picture that like Tweedy is painting with his lyrics, which I like a lot. I really dig the keys on the choruses, and like they have a very striking sound. Almost sounds like a clavinet, which is really cool. And I agree. I dig the theme of like memory and nostalgia and how it kind of plays with that, about how just kind of growing up, but still longing for the simpler times. I like this track quite a bit.
I can see why. I also like this track quite a bit. This next track is called I'm the Man Who Loves You. God, that fucking like tone in the beginning is disgusting, but in like the best way.
It almost kind of sounds like a Beatles song. That's how I kind of described it.
I can see that. I related it to like The Boxer by Simon and Garfunkel.
Okay, yeah.
I was kind of getting that sort of a vibe. Yeah, I can kind of see this being like a Beatles song, honestly.
Yeah.
It's very, I feel like a lot of things on this album are slightly Beatles coded for sure.
At least like 60s, kind of like that era of like rock and pop. I think with their instrumental choices as well as like the vibe that each song kind of has, it feels like very reminiscent, like the almost kind of folksy influence stuff.
Specifically, when I was saying that, I kind of had like the Maxwell Silver Hammer like anvil banging with like all the pots and pans and shit. That was kind of like what I was thinking of, especially like in the beginning. It feels like very like
Beatlesy.
Paulie
and Rongo.
Rongo, my favorite Beatle. But what's not Rongo is this fucking track.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I love the usage of the slide guitar on this track.
For real.
It has like a nice like blues folksy nature to it that makes it like feel a lot different than the others for sure. This is just a cool like love song about being the guy who truly loves the girl. But you know, it's Wilco, so it's a bit sad.
Of course. Yeah.
It feels very clumsy and authentic, which is like impressive that they're able to nail that balance. There's this odd sense of whimsy you get when you listen to it. Quite a noisy jamboree, but it's cool because like it's amidst this fucking nasty guitar tone. It's also like slightly jam heavy, which I commend them for because it doesn't feel like it goes on for too long.
I agree. I really dig the horn section that comes in on the third verse.
Oh yeah,
that part fucking rules. I also dig the drums a lot with all these like little fills and tom accents as well, switching like different cymbals all across. This is a really fun track for the drums specifically, but I think the guitar work is probably my favorite element of this track. I just love how everything is mixed and how it blends with the keys on the verses specifically. It just sounds like very pleasant, very well made. And then I also really love like these like triumphant kind of held chords like towards the end. It's just a really fun way to close. It makes it feel like a complete kind of arc. But this next track, I think I like even more.
Oh yeah, no, this track is really cool.
Pot Kettle Black fucking rules.
Somehow has heavier drums than track 7.
Yeah.
Even though it's called Heavy Metal Drummer, which I love. I love how this track mostly focuses on like the crash cymbals to do all the work.
Yep. I really did. I think my favorite part about this track is what it's all about. Just like the kind of Carl Jung psychology, specifically about confronting like the parts about yourself you don't like, or parts about other people you don't like too.
Yeah.
Just kind of like talking about like the repressed versions of ourselves and how you kind of go about dealing with it to become better people. And the music also kind of plays with this concept too. Like it's very chill and low key in the main melody, with a very straightforward beat on the verses, but it kind of explodes a little louder on the verses in like almost like a confrontation kind of way, which I think is kind of like a cool way to symbolize like the duality. The marimba is back on this track and it still rips as much as it did earlier. And I really like the Rhodes key solo that comes in at the same time.
Oh yeah, no, it's fucking rad.
A lyric shout out is, "It becomes so obvious you are oblivious to yourself." That's such a good fucking line to use to people that piss you off.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I know that all too well. Yeah, no, the part where it's like the hollow pots and pans banging with the E piano scratches like such an itch on my brain that I didn't know needed to be scratched. It's just a chill rock banger though. Aside from that too, the strings give it so much lift at the end of the song. The part when the electric guitars are just soloing on top of the strings makes it feel like they're almost like ascending in a weird way. For an album like this to do this kind of a song and this kind of like arrangement, it's kind of rad.
Yeah.
I said kind of like 6 times. It's more than kind of. It's very rad.
It's certified rad.
These next 2 tracks, if we're going to move on to them, these next 2 tracks kind of have this weird like little mini stretch of the album that like definitely borders more on the existential, which I kind of enjoyed too.
Totally. Yeah.
This next track is called Poor Places, track 10. I saw a comment on YouTube that said this is a testament to the beauty in chaos, which you can very much hear in the lyrics.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how like that's sort of the vibe we're going for lyrically, because musically it's like very warm in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like there's like these humming synths underneath the singer's vocals and like this distorted piano as it starts to creep into the mix. It's almost like cathartic in a weird sense. Feels like I'm bathed in like warm energy when you listen to it. Like, but the lyrics are like so hard to listen to. Like if you listen in, when it's hot in the poor places tonight, I'm not going outside. Like fucking god damn, it hits so heavy.
His jaw's been broken. His bandage is wrapped too tight.
This was the one where I felt like it was almost a little Beatles-esque.
Gotcha.
In some of the elements.
I think it's kind of like a cool duality for this track where like there's a warm kind of sense with like disturbing or unnerving lyrics, but like there's also a bit of uncanniness within the production. Like there's what sounds like hospital beeps towards like the intro.
Oh yeah,
that sounds like super ominous. That kind of like swells as like this kind of swelling instrumental kind of comes up before the lyrics hit in, and then like at the very end there's like the sampling of like the radio that says like the title of like the album, like the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot.
Yeah.
And apparently that was sampled from an album that was on the Disturbing Albums Iceberg that we talked about.
Was that the one with all the radio signals?
Yeah, this was the Kona project.
So do you know why they do like the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot thing? It's for when you're trying to spell things over the radio.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're transmitting like voice, a lot of your like consonants will get kind of muddied. So you got to use words with like the consonants you're trying to say so that you can spell it out. Be like, hey, Bob, bravo, Omega, bravo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, I believe, is like part of the phonetic like alphabet that ham radio officers use.
So this album spells YIF.
So we just won the GIF or GIF argument. It's GIF, actually.
Exactly. We're opening a big can of worms with that one, Matt. We got to be careful.
The most controversial episode yet. But I do like this track a lot. It's a very interesting like penultimate track. The fact that it can still kind of like twist your heart emotionally at this stage of the album, it's really cool. And I do like the way that it kind of adds to the Disturbia factor with like the spoken distorted voice saying Yankee Hotel Foxtrot.
Yeah, it's a very neat track, and I think it also kind of is a cool full circle moment because it's a lot more in the same vein of like the first couple tracks as opposed to like the stuff in the middle.
Yeah,
I don't really have much else to say if we want to move on to the final one.
Oh yeah, definitely, let's do it.
So we got Reservations. This opener is fucking brutal.
Yeah, a little bit. Not gonna lie.
How can I convince you it's me I don't like and not be so indifferent to look in your eyes? Like, goddamn, brother.
Gee, poor Jeff, man.
Yeah.
Good Lord. That must have been a crazy time.
2001.
2001.
Rough year.
Yeah, one might say, yeah. I think this honestly does serve as a really fitting closer for the album, though. Even though it's heartbreaking, it feels like almost like an ode to a loved one in a weird way. There's nothing better than the confidence you have when you're sure of the person you're with, but like it's so sad when like he just has this continued sense of longing and it's
like
just
self-loathing.
It's oh god, it's such a nasty combination. Just like knowing what you want / what you need, but then also just
not being happy about like what you are.
Yeah, no, it's and just being in too different of a place to actually like let that into your life. God.
It's heavy.
It really is.
But I think, like you said, perfect closer, perfect encapsulation of like just the emotions that like are peppered all throughout this album. The pathos of this album, I think, is one of its strongest like attributes. Like, there's a lot to resonate with, and just a lot to kind of take away from what Jeff Tweedy is saying. Like, another lyrical highlight, I've got reservations about so many things, but not about you.
Yeah,
it's like, damn, man. Like, it's very sweet to like find that comfort, but like very tragic to like not have that comfort within yourself, to like let yourself go for that happiness.
No, for real.
I like how stripped back the instrumentals are, with like this almost kind of ambient like esque instrumental with like the synths and like the miscellaneous percussion, just kind of creating the music as opposed to like the straight ahead indie rockers we've been having. It's very different, but it's super haunting with this like repeated like Geiger counter sample towards the end that keeps like kind of ticking louder and louder.
Especially since like you talk about a lot of the other things in this album that are like shaking your belief systems, like other people's imposed like religions onto your life, and also like wars happening and all this stuff. You're probably shaky in a lot of different areas of your life that you're like investing faith in.
Yeah.
So I think having this as like the closer of like, I'm not really sure of anything, but I'm sure that I want to be with you.
Exactly.
Too bad that's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Like holding true to something that you can't be with or can't have in your life or open like into your life. It's just, that's tragic. And if that isn't like the human experience, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's raw in the best way possible.
I wasn't expecting like high Wraith at the end of this album. Yeah, it's very atmospheric and strange. Like it's humming with life in a weird way, almost in like a magical like texture. But yeah, no, just beautifully executed closer. And I just love the way that it like fades into the tiniest sound possible at the end of the track.
I think it's a very fitting closer.
But AJ,
yes,
what did you think of Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco?
I actually fucking hated it, dude.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
Yankee
sad.
fucking hated it.
What do you think of that, Yankee Hotel fuckface? Oh man.
But nah, I do really enjoy this album. I think definitely on this listen specifically for the episode, I really connected a lot with the lyrics and just like the emotional side of this album that I never really did before. Getting like kind of a moment to dissect like the lyrics, what they're talking about, and all these different kind of lenses of, like you said, the human experience is super fascinating and super relatable.
Yeah.
Especially if you're fucking going through it. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, you can connect with this album in a multitude of ways, for better or for worse.
Yeah, and with like that connection in mind, there's also like the musical aspect. Like the middle part of this album is really pleasant.
It is.
Like there's a
sure.
lot, like even like the lyrics have like these undertones or like these just straight, just blunt, kind of tragic like themes. The music itself is just straight ahead like indie rock, kind of classical 60s folk rock. It's just really pleasant to listen to and just kind of like get lost in. But like when you kind of take a step back to like really look at what they're saying, there's a lot of really poignant things to take away and kind of take in like some lessons for yourself. Like I really dig Pot Kettle Black a lot. Like any kind of like song that deals with the concept of self-improvement or like beating the other self that like you don't want to be. I just kind of resonate, you know, as a Persona fan.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes that I can definitely see the appeal there for sure.
Yes, there's like I think another moment on like I think the Car Seat Headrest album that kind of resonated with me. So that stuff always I have like a soft spot for. But even War on War, for how simple it is a really good anti-war song.
Yeah.
Jesus Etc. is a perfect like commentary on religion. I really dig Heavy Metal Drummer for the more personal kind of lesson about overgrowing nostalgia and like kind of just moving on from like a past that you've grown out of. There's just a lot of really cool moments to take away, but the instrumentation is also really cool. Like I said, the blending of acoustic and electronic instruments is brilliant, as well as their production style is so quirky, but it works so well.
It was self-produced. I don't know if I actually mentioned that either. Like
really?
The band actually produced it themselves.
For self-produced, it sounds really good.
I imagine they had like other engineers like in the mix. Like I remember the personnel list being a bit long when I was looking it up.
Yeah.
But like when I looked on like the beginning of their page, it said produced by Wilco.
Gotcha.
So
I mean, like for self-produced, of course, like having some extra hands is going to help, but like it sounds really crisp for being a self-produced album. Then again, they have already been established. That definitely helps, but it's still a really cool testament. The bass work is fantastic. I like the drum work is kind of ranges from like simple to like really sporadic, which I like a lot. But whatever it is doing on each track is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think the guitar work is definitely a highlight all throughout, just in terms of the acoustic as well as the electric, because the electric moments are really strike through with how sparingly it's used. But the auxiliary stuff with like the percussion really adds so much texture, and the strings are brilliant whenever they're used. This is like a defining kind of indie album.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that I got to connect with it a little more. So I'd give this a very solid A tier.
Honestly, you're kind of in a similar boat with me. I was very much drawn in at first by the musical aspect of this album. I didn't really get the chance to listen to the lyrics until like really, because I was listening to this while I was working.
Yeah.
Almost every single time because I just liked the way it sounded. But then once I had like a moment to just like sit down at home and just like listen to the album's lyrics and like have them up in front of me as they were going through, I was like, oh my God, these are like really real.
Yeah, dude.
They're just speaking truths that like you wouldn't think would still be relevant 25 years ago, essentially. But like, no, it really is just proving itself to be like a timeless classic. Like people still rave about this album.
Oh yeah,
constantly.
I think this is in like the 1001 albums to listen to before you die as well.
I would imagine. Yeah. No, for sure. If I come across this is definitely gonna be like one of my highest rated ones.
Nice.
Not gonna lie.
Word.
But I think this album definitely has just a lot to offer to anyone who wants to listen, whether they take the album in its entirety or they just single out a track. You love the music pretty much throughout the entire album. Like, I don't think there's like a true miss on this album.
No, I wouldn't say like any at all. They're all very necessary for the entire project.
But then also like each track by themselves, like
stands on its own.
Yeah. Like I think even the tracks that I don't necessarily like listen to by themselves, I can definitely like see a world where any other person might. Like, and make the argument for any other track. Even the closer, when it's like mostly ambience, like there's something real to that. They just made quality music. The songwriting is just so tight, along with the instrumentals, just like really remaining consistent to the vibe, but branching out in so many different ways. I think my favorite instrumental like highlight amongst the band definitely has to be like, I'd say the keys.
Yeah.
I say the keys and the synth. I just love how inventive they were with like the radio sound. And I think it's also cool how they tied that in as like sort of an undercurrent theme of just radio, lingo. Like there's something really cool about that. So I'd probably give this like, I put this at A-, but I might also put it at like solid A tier.
Yeah.
It's really well done. And I'd say maybe like an 8 out of 10, but I could see it like moving up. It's just a very good album. And like, if y'all hadn't listened to it before, please listen to it. It's so worth your time.
There's definitely something for everyone on there, especially if you like indie rock.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is apparently like a staple.
Yeah. But I guess that'll do it for this week's episode of the Family Album, Matt.
I really like this conversation we had today, for sure. I think the first album, like, even though it seemed like I wasn't really doing it justice, like, I did enjoy the majority of the tracks on there. I just think, unfortunately, Wilco kind of stole the show in my listening period.
No, I would agree. I mean, this happens sometimes, but like, I always enjoy when like an album that you bring on, I like more than the album I brought on.
Yeah.
Because it's like cool for like different perspectives and stuff. And I like that I can kind of let my album kind of take a backseat as we talk about the thing that I really enjoy of like the pair.
I guess like the albums being like time capsules in a weird way. That's like a good kind of theme with this episode.
Very much so.
Now, how do we connect that to the number 5?
Let's say it 3 more times.
Oh man. But I think that's everything I have to say about both these albums.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you all for listening to our last January episode of 2026.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Approaching that hiatus real soon.
Yeah, we're getting there. Thank you for voting in the Bad Album Bowl.
Yes, stay tuned for that. That's going to be a fun episode with our 2 winners.
Yeah, we sure hate them.
Yuck. Ew.
Also, be on the lookout for a little bit more voting, potentially.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But, AJ.
Yeah?
Who are you?
Oh, fuck, dude. I'm AJ Tenari.
I'm Matt Glass.
Thank you all for listening and for your constant love and support, and we will see you next week with a very special guest.
Peace.